Hello everybody! In this short video I would like to show you how you can improve and manipulate the sound of a kick drum or any other drum with the SPL Transient Designer plugin. So let me first open the session that I'm working on. And in that session, go to the Edit window. And you can see on top the kick drum track that I'm talking about. So I'm going to solo that for you. And then I'm going to stop the track and highlight only a part of it. And put that part into loop play so that we can have continuous playback of a part where the kick drum is playing predominantly. Then I'm going to switch back to the mix window and open the Transient Designer plugin. Now, as you can easily see, the Transient Designer only has a few buttons and knobs, so it's pretty simple to operate. It has two controls to change the sound, one to change the gain, and an on and off button. So the whole thing is pretty intuitive and easy to handle. So what do they do? Well, the first thing you can see above the attack control, that there is an LED that signals that there is an overload, which means that the signal is coming in too hot into the plugin. So I'm going to down the gain to compensate for that. Now, the two controls that are very important for the Transient Designer are the attack and the sustain control. The attack control increases or decreases the intensity of the transient or the attack of a sound. With this control, you can take away or add attack to almost any sound that has a transient. But let me show you. When I bring it all the way up, the kick drum suddenly has a lot of attack. The exact opposite happens when I bring the control all the way down. Now the kick drum has almost no attack at all. Now let's go to the sustain control. The sustain control lengthens or shortens a sound by adding or taking away sustain. So you can make it very short, or very long and very boomy. All with one control. So for this particular example, in this mix, I want the kick drum to sound a little more vintage, like the kick drums in the 60s used to do, with a lot of sustain and not as short and muffled as the one that I've recorded. So I'm simply going to turn up the sustain control. But I still want the kick drum to groove and cut through the mix, so I'm going to add a bit of attack. And I'll take some sustain away again. And with the on button, I can turn the plugin on and off to compare. But first, I should bring down the output gain, because adding attack and sustain have increased the gain of the sound. There we go. Now, when I turn it off, that's the original sound. And back on. That's the sound we ended up with. I'll turn it off and on again. Now I'm going to unsolo the track and listen to it in the mix. And I'll turn the plugin on and off again. Notice how the changes that we've done with the Transient Designer has cleaned the kick drum sound. It's made it a little more boomy and vintage, but also it has defined the attack a lot better than before. Of course, this is all to your preference. You can deal with problematic sounds and change their attack and sustain, but you can also change sounds that you've selected, but make them more your personal sounds. And certainly you can do that with snare drums, toms, and all other drums. Now, if you want to know more about the Transient Designer plugin, you can go online to www.spl.info. You can download the Transient Designer plugin demo and the manuals. test it for 14 days without any restrictions or limitations and see what it does for your mixes and your music. So thanks a lot for tuning in and watching this video, and have a lot of fun experimenting around and making music. Until next time, hope you've enjoyed it. Bye bye.